$12 per hour. Is that something that's going to happen once or over and over? Over and over. So it represents the slope. So your equation needs to be y equals 12x, because 12 needs to be a slope. It's happening again and again and again. It goes next to the variable. Your y-intercept here would be 0, because at the beginning of the week, he hasn't mowed anything. He's got $0. Make a note for yourself that x represents number of hours, because it is $12 per hour, 12x. And y equals money earned. Gives you 12 times the number of hours, gets you y, money. Just like we discussed yesterday, you need to make your slope into a fraction so that you know how to scale your graph and how to label it. Right now my slope is 12. Molly, what can I do to make that 12 into a fraction?
Well, we just do 12 over 1.
Yeah, make it 12 over 1. Write this down. This is your change in y over your change in x. So what this means is that it's $12 over 1 hour, because the x is hours. $12 over 1 hour. You are going to label your axes. We did this yesterday. On your y-axis, you need to go by 12s. On your x-axis, you need to go by 1s. Because that's how it's changing. Make it easiest to graph your slope that way. What's my y-intercept?
You don't have one.
You do have one. What is it?
0.
It's 0. Okay. But he can only mow 6 hours in a week. So what's the maximum amount of money that he's going to make in a week? 12 times 6, 72. So please keep in mind your hours needs to have space to go up to 6, and your money needs to have space to go up to 72. Let's label. Put a 0 at the corner. Your change in y from your slope is 12. So go by 12s. But we do not want to label all of them. Like, I don't want each square worth 12, because you do not maximize your space. So spread it out. 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72, and top one would be 84. So we're going a little bit past 72, and that's okay. And we know that this is money earned in units, dollars. You have to have what it is and how it's being measured. Your x-axis needs to go by 1s, but you can skip again. 1, skip every 2 squares. So that way it goes up to 7. And x is, yes?
Wouldn't that be 64?
On your x-axis, that represents the time in hours. So your units need to go in parentheses. So title it. You can make your title slightly different. I'm going to call it Mowing Business. Wonderful. So graph your first point at 0. And your slope is 12 over 1. So go up $12 over 1 hour. Up 12 over 1. Look at your labels. It's not up 12 squares over 1 square. Where are we going to stop, by the way? 72 or 6 hours, because Luke's parents are saying, hey, you can't work any more than that because you'll be too tired and won't get your schoolwork done. So please do connect these. But it should not have an arrow because he can't work more than 6 hours. This is what your graph should look like. So we said it should be continuous because what Cole said, you can have parts of time and money. You can have partial amounts of both of those things. So you can have everything in between the whole numbers as well. We reviewed domain yesterday. Domain is the x values from left to right. My x values from left to right, they start at 0. And then Hannah, going to the right, where do they stop for my x values? 6. So my domain should be from 0 to 6. It's continuous, so use inequalities. Oceana, my range starts at 0. Where does it stop going up? For the y values. 72. So y is between 0 and 72. X is between 0 and 6. Use inequalities because it's connected. Use 4 and 48. Explain what it means. You can use a different point. I don't care. This means after 4 hours, how much has he earned? What is it? $48. You're given $180 for your birthday to buy school clothes. That's a kind of a lame gift, so I don't know who gave that to you, but here we go. School clothes. You have to spend all of the money on tops and bottoms, so shirts and pants. Tops cost $15 and bottoms cost $20. This is not y equals mx plus b. Yes. So both of these things are happening over and over. They both have to have a variable. $15 for tops, 15x, plus $20 for bottoms, 20y, equals the total, 180. Write down your equation, please. This is in standard form because both of these things happen over and over. Before you get going, write down what does the x and y represent. X equals number of tops. Y equals number of bottoms. So over here on the right-hand side, you should have space. You're going to make a note. You're going to solve for y to find the slope. So you're going to rearrange this equation so you can tell me what the slope is. So take your one in standard form and we're going to rearrange it. Move the x term, divide by what's in front of y, so it's y equals mx plus b. Equals 180. This isn't going to work. Doesn't tell us the slope. You're solving this. Ari, 15x is positive. How do I move it? Subtract 15x. Move it to the other side. New equation. We've done this like a gajillion times now. Yep. 20y equals 180 minus 15x. You need y by itself. So Daniel, how do I get rid of the 20?
By dividing it over 2 other sides.
Yes. Divide by 20 and you have to simplify. Mental math. 180 divided by 20 is 9, not 90. Because 9 times 20 is 180. If you said 90, you're close. And then 15 over 20 simplifies into 3 over 4. So you're going to write 3 over 4x. This is the equation that we're going to graph. This is the equation that's actually helpful because not only does it give us the y-intercept and the slope, it tells us how to scale the graph. So write this down. Change in y over change in x is What's my change in y? Look at your slope. What's our slope is 3/4. What's the change in y?
4.
3. The change in y is 3. What's the change in x? 4. You can make it negative 3/4 if you want. What this tells you is that the y-axis needs to go by 3s. You need to label your x-axis by 4s. The y-intercept is 9, so you just got to make sure you have space to go up to 9. And you should be fine. Let's label. The y-axis goes by 3s because that's your change in y. You can skip 3 squares and label every 3. The highest you'll have to go is 9. And your x-axis can go by 4s. Label. We already talked about what the x and y stand for. X is number of tops. Y is number of bottoms. Title, I don't really care, but we're going to call it buying clothes. If you want to make it slightly different, good for you. Go for it. On your graph, you need to start it at 9. And you're going down 3 bottoms over 4 tops. Look at your labels, not your squares, depending on how you scaled it. These are the points that you should have, roughly, depending on where you labeled your stuff. So check your slope. It's negative. It has to go down. So you guys said do not connect them, so that means that it is discrete. You can't. Or you could say whole numbers only. When you go to the store, you buy whole numbers of tops and bottoms because that's how life works. The x-intercept is 12, 0. It's this point right here. What this means is that you can buy 12 tops and how many bottoms? And 0 bottoms for $180. The y-intercept, class, what's my y-intercept? 9. 0, 9. I'll let you get this, and then we need to explain that. Someone tell me the sentence I should write for 0, 9. What does that mean? Connor, can you tell me in a sentence? Yeah, 9 bottoms, but yes. So you can buy 9 bottoms and 0 tops with 180. This is discrete, a separate set of points. So just like we talked about yesterday, you guys did a great job with this yesterday. Separate points, your domain and range should be a list. So my domain is 0, 4, 8, 12. Peyton, what's my range? If my domain was 0, 4, 8, 12, what's my range?
0, 3, 6, 9.
Yes, 0, 3, 6, and 9.